Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. And through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and also an update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this, this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is to try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%, and it's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details with regard to in-depth strategy and also how to join us in the challenge, details are in the description below. In the previous video we did an important update on ticker symbol NLST netlist. There was some huge breaking news, so please refer back to the previous video for details of that. In today's video we're going to do a follow-up and update on netlist again, and we're also going to do an important update for ticker symbol BBIG, Vinco Ventures, so stay tuned for that. Before we look into both stocks, a quick update in terms of what's happened in the market. So on the screen here you'll be able to see one of the headlines from Reuters with regard to the previous week's trading. I'm sure many of you will be aware that this was one of the most difficult trading weeks this year, and on the headline here we can see in terms of the indexes, the Dow was down 0.3%, the S&P 500 was down just on the day 0.57%, and the Nasdaq 1.4%. So overall not a great day in the market. And the other key headline here that we can see is in terms of the Nasdaq, it has now registered the lowest closing level since 2020. So very difficult times of trading. The other thing that we can see here is over the previous 5 weeks, the S&P 500 has posted its consecutive losses. So bearing in mind what's happening in the markets, I think what we are seeing right now with regard to netlist and also BBIG, which I'm going to follow up with, is something that I think has to be taken into account. And I think if market conditions were favourable, we would certainly be seeing much higher increases and prices for netlist and stocks, other stocks such as BBIG. What I'd now like to do is make a start by having a look at ticker symbol NLST netlist. And if you saw my previous video, you will know that there was a breakthrough in the case with regard to Google. And in today's video I'm going to be providing an update in terms of what happened, and after the update I'm also going to be sharing with you some opinion in terms of what's going to happen next, what could happen, and maybe also some of the key risks involved. So let's start by having a look at an article here from Matthew Bolton, dated May the 5th, and the headline here we can see is that Google fails to beat netlist suit over memory server patents. So a great headline here, and again this is following up from the previous video. So let's have a look at some of the key things that we can pick up from this news article here from Matthew. And he said here, in terms of netlist, they can now pursue allegations that Google Incorporated memory server infringed their patented memory module technology, and the judge that we know about in terms of Judge Seaborg, he has now ruled that in favor of netlist, and this led to the netlist share price soaring. So please refer back to the previous video with regard to the update in the share price. In terms of Google's arguments, they were saying that in terms of the allegedly infringing memory servers that are insulated from infringement claims after netlist amended parts of its patent during proceedings at the US Patent Office, the judge has said basically that one of the patent's claims isn't subject to that defense. Furthermore, the ruling starts the case that dates back from 2009. So those of you who've been following the updates with regard to netlist will know that this has been a very long-winded case going over quite a significant number of years now, and hopefully we're getting right to the end, and hopefully we're getting to a settlement. So Google has said in previous filings that if netlist were allowed to pursue infringement of the patent claim, the patent office proceedings will be rendered meaningless and the case will start over with respect to the patent claim. So let's have a look at what else we can find in this article. So in the second part of the article, I'm going to start halfway down, and in terms of what's stated here, it states that Seaborg found Google had intervening rights for most of netlist patent claims, but there was one that Seaborg said wasn't amended, inverted commas, as the term is used in the context of patent prosecution. So further down, we can also see here that the law doesn't permit the invocation of intervening rights against claims that the PTO confirmed on re-examination to be patentable as originally issued. So in terms of the judge, what he saw, what's happened, which is the key thing that in favour of NetList here, he's rejected Google's argument that NetList shouldn't be allowed to allege infringement of the patent claim now when the claim wasn't part of the original suit. So again, very important point here. BBIG also said that NetList couldn't have sued over the claim in 2019 because the newer allegedly infringing products came out later. So again, a very good point here, and also a great statement and great understanding from the judge here. So the facts of the case therefore do not support a finding that NetList is engaged in gamemanship, BBIG wrote. So in my opinion, I think overall, looking back at the case, I think it was a good move in terms of the previous judge not making a ruling. I think Judge BBIG has used a significant amount of common sense here. So overall, great news. So I'd like to finish off by having a look at an overall summary and some general opinion in terms of what may happen next and what is likely to be the key catalyst going forward. In terms of the overall summary, the key victory here is with regard to claim 16. So I do commend the judge for his decision in this case. In terms of what's in the interest of Google here, in my opinion, I think that would be a negotiation for a settlement. Once we get close to that, I think that will be the key catalyst in terms of the share price. Right now, in terms of market conditions, we have seen the share price previously last year when the stock was first covered on the channel get very, very close to the $10 mark. I think there is certainly potential for that again. But the next key catalyst now is going to be the discussions and the agreement with regard to a settlement. So that's what we're going to be looking out for here in terms of the overall outcome from this case. Very, very positive. I'm now going to look at an important update for ticker symbol BBIG. Vinco Ventures, this is a stock that has been featured a number of occasions on the channel. So for more in-depth due diligence on the stock, please refer back to the previous videos. If anybody's not aware of this company, I'm going to start by first of all sharing with you a quick profile and an overview of the organization. So on the screen here, you'll be able to see at the top that the company is focused on the development of digital media and content technologies, and it's also consolidated subsidiary ZVV Media Partners, which is a limited liability company, is also a joint venture of Vinco Ventures and Zash Global Media. So the other angles to this, it has an 80% ownership interest in Lowmotive Private Limited. So if we have a look at the middle section here in terms of Lowmotive, this is a video sharing social network platform, and I think in the previous video you'll see that this is something a little bit similar to TikTok. So potentially a great future forward going forward in terms of potential competition there. And also we have the other angle at the bottom, which is Cryptide. So again, that's relevant to the breaking news that we're going to look at shortly as well. So in terms of the key developments and updates, there has been some good news. So we're going to start by having a look at this announcement from the company website. You can see here from May the 5th, the key headline here is that Vinco has set the record date and distribution date for planned business separation of Cryptide. So those of you who've been following the stock will know that the share price has been on a strong downwards momentum. And before we look at the chart, let's have a look at what's stated here on the website. And that is in terms of the company, they announced that May the 18th, 2022 has been set as the record date for the dividend of shares of common stock of Cryptide Incorporated to be distributed to Vinco stockholders in order to effect the separation of Vinco and Cryptide into two independent publicly traded companies. I think the second part of the article is much more important for everybody looking to invest or already has invested in BBIG. So let's have a look at this in a little bit more detail. So the announcement here is that every Vinco stockholder as of close of business on May the 18th, 2022 will receive on the distribution date 1 share of Cryptide common stock for every 10 shares of Vinco common stock held. So for every 10 shares of BBIG, you will get 1 share of Cryptide. So let's have a look at what else is important here. The share dividend is expected to be distributed to Vinco stockholders on or about May the 27th, 2022. So the key date here is on or about. So that's when you will get the distribution. Following the separation, Vinco stockholders will also receive, so this also is indicating in addition, will also receive cash in lieu, so in lieu means instead, in lieu of any fractional shares of Cryptide common stock. So it looks like the company are only looking to distribute full shares and not fractional shares, so that's why there is an announcement here of cash in lieu of any fractional shares that the stockholders would have received after the application of the 10-for-1 distribution ratio. So again, that's the ratio, just to remind you, 10-to-1 for every 1 share of BBIG. Every 10 shares of BBIG, you will be receiving 1 share of Cryptide. So no action is necessary, so you don't need to fill in any forms, register on any website or send any emails. So this is no action for holders of BBIG. So in order to receive the shares of Cryptide common stock in the dividend distribution, so no particular action in terms of form filling, etc. is required, but obviously you will have to hold through to the qualifying dates. So in connection with this separation, Cryptide has now filled in a registration statement in terms of Form 10. So that has been received by the SEC. The Form 10 contains further information with regard to company's plans for a tax-free spin-off of Cryptide as a publicly traded company. So this is going to include conditions to completion of the separation. The Form 10 has been declared effective by the SEC. So again, good news there in terms of approval. And finally, at the end, we can see here is after the separation, Cryptide common stock is expected to trade on the NASDAQ capital market under the stock ticker symbol TYDE. So again, very important announcement there. And Vinco will continue to trade on the NASDAQ capital market under the stock ticker symbol BBIG. So BBIG will remain. So everybody holding shares in BBIG. So again, just to quickly recap, for every 10 shares of BBIG, you will receive 1 share of Tide. What I'd now like to do is share with you some important information with regard to understanding the record date. So from Investopedia here at the top, we can see in terms of understanding this, the record date or the date of record is the cut-off date established by a company in order to determine which shareholders are eligible to receive a dividend or distribution. So this is very important in understanding that we don't make a mistake in terms of not qualifying for the distribution and for the dividend. The determination of record date is required to ascertain who exactly a company shareholders are as of that date, since the shareholders of an actively traded stock are continuously changing. So that basically means people buy and sell continuously, so the ownership does change. The shareholders of record as of the record date will be entitled to receive the dividend or distribution declared by the company. So that's an important date to be aware of. So the key takeaways here from Investopedia: record date is the cut-off date used to determine which shareholders are entitled to a corporate dividend. The record date will usually be the day following the ex-dividend date, which is trading date on or after which the dividend is not owed to a new buyer of the stock. So to be eligible for the dividend, you must buy the stock at least 2 business days before the record date. So that last bullet point is very, very important. So we're going to have a look at what that means. So what does that mean for specific dates? So from the company website, we can see that they announced that May the 18th, 2022 is the record date. So in terms of being able to qualify for the dividend, you must buy the stock or already own the stock at least 2 days before the date of record. So the date of record from the company website is May the 18th. So what this basically means is you must own the stock on May the 16th. So that's the key date, May the 16th. So what does this mean going forward in terms of what may be happening? Let's now have a look at the share price for BBIG. So if you have a look at the 5-day share price here on the screen, we can see prior to the 6th of May 2022, the share price was fairly flat and it was trading around about $2.60 on a high and around about $2.40 on a low. So not much movement there. However, on the 6th of May 2022, we can see the share price did spike from $2.60 all the way up to just in excess of $3.40. So again, that was when we had the breaking news, and we can see close of play on the Friday, the stock was up in excess of 28%, closing at $3.29, and on a high it did at one point reach $3.45. So going forward, what is potentially going to happen with the share price? And let's also have a look at a tweet I'd like to share with you with regard to short interest. I'd like to now give a shout out to B. Russell, and I think he's posted a very interesting tweet here, and what he said here is, think about it, with regard to BBIG, who would want to short this knowing that the stock could run? Question mark. So I think we are all expecting this to run quite significantly from Monday onwards. I mean, we are now at a low in terms of the share price, trading just above $3, so it's logical he's potentially calling this potentially running to $20. I'm not sure if that's the case. But then he's saying it could drop back down to $3. So in terms of short's current position, it may not be profitable. So he's also indicating that, again, this is something bullish, indicating potentially a strong run in the share price, because it's not in the interest for the shorts to short it, especially with regard to what's happened in terms of the news. Let's now have a look at the latest data from Vinco with regard to short squeeze score and also gamma squeeze score. So we can see in terms of the short squeeze score, the stock is number 6 out of 5,483, so rated at 97.06. From a gamma squeeze point of view, this is stock is rated number 3 out of 311. So again, the data from Vinco certainly does indicate that the stock is primed for a squeeze going forward. What I'd now like to do is finish off by having a look at potential strategy and opinion in terms of how to play this. So from a personal point of view, if we look at comparison with Metamaterials, Torchlight Energy and what happened previously, I think one of the key differences to receive the dividend for Metamaterials Torchlight Energy situation, we did and still require sale of assets. That's not the case with the BBIG, so they're not in a situation where they have to sell assets. So the payment of the dividend has been announced. We also have a date for that. So that's a key difference there. Another thing that, however, that could be a similarity is we could have a significant run up in the share price. So in terms of your overall personal strategies, this could be, if you are looking to qualify for the dividend, then obviously that will require you to hold. However, if you are looking to take profits, I think certainly it may be a case that you may have to sell before the dividend date when we do see a significant run up in the share price. So again, difficult decisions to be made. In terms of one strategy that could be an option is, first of all, to take profits. And if it is a significant spike, then certainly another option could be to take out your original investment, let your profits run, and everything that you receive is a bonus after. So again, everything is a personal decision, but going forward, this is going to be a stock that we are watching carefully, and fingers crossed we get a huge bounce in the share price. And I think if markets conditions and the overall situation going forward is more bullish, I do expect some very, very positive momentum in BBIG. Finally, if you'd like to join us in our Discord, where we can talk stocks live and also get access to our weekly watch list, as well as join us in our challenge, you can join the Discord for as little as $9 a month. Details are available in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.